Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. So, yesterday, Razor the Harmonist and Big Drum released a translation of Vaiśiṣṭyāṣtaka by Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedānta Svāmī Prabhupāda, which he wrote in 1960 on the 86th appearance day of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, Jagadguru Śrīla Prabhupāda. It is one of the most extraordinary pieces of writing I've ever read, for a number of reasons. It's a bold and passionate call to action, directed at his own godbrothers, calling them to preach, as was the final wish of their Gurudev. It's a meditation on what true religion is, on how it is guided by compassion and dedicated to the sacred message, to the truth. It showcases Śrīla Prabhupāda's dedication to his Gurudev, to spreading the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his overwhelming compassion for the living entities. He begs his godbrothers in the first section to come together and cooperate to preach. This very day let us gather together and discuss. Let us align our differing views and decide what to do. Give up stubbornness and strive for people's welfare, for there is no time. But then he shifts his focus towards Indian politics, and he calls out Nehru's policies at that time that were so focused on industrialization that agriculture just got kind of sidelined and stagnated. The demons steal Bhagavan's wealth and devour it. The innocent citizens all lament, alas, alas. Asurera plan chai tadera takate. The demons' plan requires that they cheat them. They sell wheat for 32 rupees a month. Why all of a sudden he's talking about the price of wheat? Well, it's a bit of a long story, but basically what happened is the British left India starved and malnourished. But India actually did really well in the 50s in terms of agricultural growth. They did have some problems with internal distribution and price regulation between various Indian states. And the Nehru-led policymakers wanted India to industrialize, which meant developing steel and iron. So the US conveniently stepped in, offering their surplus PL 480 wheat to India, trying to recruit India to their side of the Cold War against Russia and China. This agreement was great for India, though, initially. Because it was basically free food. But most of this went to feeding the urban industrial workers, not the poor, hardworking, rural farmers who made up 85% of India's population. The free grain going to the industrial workers meant their wages could be lower and more capital spent on industrialization. So Nehru and his policymakers started ignoring agriculture, and the sector stagnated between the 50s to the mid-60s, with 22% of grain coming from the US. Then, in 1965 to 66, everything changed. The US was at war in Vietnam, which India was not supportive of. Then a drought hit Bihar, and India really needed that PL 480 wheat. But the US did not have as much of a surplus then and was spending so much on their war. So they manipulated the situation to silence India's dissent to the Vietnam War and impose agricultural reforms, or the so-called Green Revolution, which was really a ploy to sell India its chemical fertilizers and pesticides. And the US turns out to be the biggest producer of these chemicals. Then came the HYV, high-yielding variety seeds, that needed the pesticides and fertilizers and lots of water. Now fast forward to the present, India's grain factory, that is Punjab, is experiencing soil toxicity from overuse of pesticides, dropping groundwater levels. There's also widespread malnutrition and anemia throughout India because people are consuming these poisoned and processed grains.
And India is the worst in the world. Worst. We are the top. We've beaten sub-Saharan Africa. We have the highest number of malnourished children.
What's amazing is that Śrīla Prabhupada seems to have foreseen all of this and predicted it with striking accuracy, which explains his urgency, the urgency that he was feeling then to preach. Lohar shalar kule, will they fill the bellies of the masses by opening iron factories? These are very shocking and almost puzzling verses that come out of seemingly nowhere. How perceptive Śrīla Prabhupada was. Śrīla Prabhupada is writing this in 1960. He could see the deceit and he could see the situation developing. Further on, he starts talking about the Vaishnavas. They are the ones who are truly concerned for the sufferings of others, and that the best thing we can do for everyone is to bring devotion to Krishna to them. Once that awakens in people's hearts, Kali will flee automatically, wailing in alarm. And then in his final Ashtaka, then he says, why do all the people weep for Ram's reign, Ram Rajya? The only reason is because it creates that universal kingdom of Vishnu. And he describes how when the Vaishnavas were seated on the thrones, when, for example, Yudhishthira was on the throne as emperor of the world, earth was full of grain and wealth. by the virtue of the Vaishnavas, right? Instead of first prioritizing heavy industry, neglecting the basic agriculture of the country and leaving the people starving. So Modi has encouraged people to conserve water, grow and promote nutri-cereals like bajra, etc., instead of wheat and rice. Is he really able to remedy this situation? Why has the government written off 7 lakh crore of industrial loans but cannot forgive the farmers' loans and invest enough capital into remedying the agricultural situation? Though the establishment of Ram's temple is a beautiful moment for Hindus, if the earth and her children, the cows and humans, are poisoned and starving, what real worship or yajna can be performed? We know Krishna is what? Go Brahmana Hitaya cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishna ensures the welfare of the cows, the Brahmanas, and the whole world. So we have seen Modi recently bow before Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda. But is he going to follow genuine Vaishnava dharma? Mahaprabhu's message was one of compassion, jividoya name ruchi, attachment to chanting the holy names, and compassion for the living entities. Compassion like Śrīla Prabhupada had on us when he came to the West and taught the message of his Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. In addition to teaching the tenets of pure bhakti, he encouraged his disciples to live simply, think highly, take care of the cows, develop farming communities, and live a simple, pure life while developing their Krishna consciousness.